Looking out my kitchen window. This morning, as I'm standing here looking out my kitchen window, I find myself thinking about a scripture that many of us has heard our entire lives. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. And if you need a reference, that's in Hebrew 11:1. But have you really stopped and thought about what that means? Not the church answer, not what you learned in Sunday school, not the answer you repeat so many times when the words become so familiar, perhaps it has lost its meaning in your life. Because as you're standing here looking out the window, it's some things you just don't have faith for. You want to believe it. You may have been struggling with it for years. You may have been tossing it over in your heart for days, but you don't believe for it. Let's talk about faith this morning. And what is the evidence? What does it really mean? And more importantly, what is evidence? Because if faith is the evidence of things not seen, where is the evidence supposed to come from? Most of us only think about faith when it comes to difficult times. That might be this season in your life. When the doctor's report doesn't look good, when our family members are making choices we don't understand, when your money is running low or almost non-existent, when your relationship could be struggling, when loneliness settles into your home after everyone has moved away and there's no one there but you. It could be you're standing at a crossroads in your life and have absolutely no idea what's your next step. You begin by praying harder, maybe talking to your sisters more, discussing the issue, asking for signs. You're searching for evidence. But what if you do not see the evidence? Because you're not looking through your heart. Because the evidence could be right here all the time, right here alongside of you, right there. What if faith is not something you go out and find? What if faith is something you already have? Okay. How many things have you already survived? Well, let's think about that. You survived heartbreaks, disappointments. You even survived seasons when you couldn't pay your bills. You survived grief of loved ones, maybe your mother, your father, brothers or sisters. You survived. You survived betrayal by close loved ones. And maybe you even survived the loss of dreams that you thought you had forever. And somehow, here you are, still standing, still breathing, still living. But let's look at, is that faith? Is that the evidence of faith? Let's look at that. Because sometimes we try to believe something. It has to be greater. It can't be simple. It has to be something bigger. But looking out this window, still looking at tomorrow, and we look back at all the things we have survived, isn't that evidence? When I talk with women over 50, 60, or even 70, I hear the same question. Can I start again? Is it too late? Even do I still matter? And what am I supposed to do now? And I often want to ask them this. Who got you through the last 50, 60, or even 70 years? Who carried you through every storm that you thought would destroy you? Who or what helped you get back up after every setback? Because the evidence of God's faith is not only in the future, the evidence is in your history, the life that you lived, the journey that you walked. Sometimes we spend so much time looking ahead that we forget to look back. I'm not saying go back because you can't, but I'm saying look back. We forget the prayers that have been answered, the doors that was opened, that we walked through, the healing that we already received, the strength that was provided, and the mountains that was moved. Faith isn't pretending things aren't hard. Faith isn't denying your reality. Faith is remembering that God has never abandoned you in your reality, and remembering that you didn't give up on you, even in your hardest moments, your most challenging times, even times when you felt that you were alone or forgotten. You didn't give up on you. I believe one of the greatest challenges today is not lack of faith, it's sometimes the lack of remembering. Sometimes we forget. We forget how strong we have become. We forget what we overcame. We even forget how many times God made a way when there seemed to be no way. Because when we forget about the faith that we had to continue on. Maybe the evidence is the fact that after all you endured, you're still here. Maybe the evidence is the fact that despite the tears you cried, you still have hope and belief for tomorrow. Maybe the evidence is that after being rejected, abandoned, overlooked, and disappointed, you still believe something good is possible. And that is evidence. I think about women who spend decades raising children, supporting husbands, caring for aging parents, serving in the community, serving in their church, working jobs, and helping everyone else. Now they find themselves in a quieter season, and they wonder if their best years are behind them. No, you're not that person you used to be. No, you're not a 20-year-old or 30-year-old, 40 or even 50. But remember, one season ends and another one begins. So what is the evidence? Evidence that you already have. God has been preparing you all along for this season, for this part of your journey. Evidence that your story is not over. Evidence that there is still purpose ahead in your life and even today. You see, faith is not blind. Faith remembers. Faith reflects. Faith looks back and says, if God brought me through this, and if I believed through it, I am able to go through this season too. And God will not let me down. I have been provided for. I have been cared for. And if God opened a door before, He will open another. And I will boldly go through it. And sometimes while standing at the kitchen window, unable to see the entire road ahead, faith simply says and whispers, take the next step. Not the next 10, not the next 20, just the next step. Because faith does not require you to see the whole path, the whole road, the whole journey. It asks you to trust the one who's building it. And it's asking you to trust you, the one who has lived through it. So today, I want to leave you with the question, what is your evidence? Now, what happened to someone in their story? Not happened to someone in a Bible story. But what is your evidence in your life? What prayers have been answered? What storms have you survived? What impossible situations did God see you through? Take a moment and remember. Write it down if you have to. Create your own journey that you can look back and remember and recall. Because one day you will face another challenge, because this is life, another uncertainty, another prognosis from the doctor, another moment when you can't see the next step. And when that day comes, your evidence will remind you God has been faithful before. I have been resilient, and I will continue. Until next time, let's keep looking out the window as we look within, because sometimes the evidence you've been searching for has been living inside of you all along. This is me and you looking out the window. May you have strength for your journey today.